after criticism, today reading, I don't know, reading so Russia Today, the best people in the world, the most masculine people in the world. Russian people, they do whatever it takes. Russian people, the only adults in this planet. Today Russian people are talking about Iran, about the Middle East or the West Asia. August 10, 2025. Iran objects to US plan on Armenia-Azerbaijan transit route. Tehran has argued that Washington's corridor proposal is a ploy to isolate it along with Russia and weaken their influence in the region. When we have a photograph, Ali Akbar Velayati, senior advisor to the supreme leader of Iran in international affairs. Iran has condemned a US-backed plan to establish a transit route to Armenia, which will be under US control, warning that it poses a threat to regional stability and will undermine Tehran's security interests. On Friday, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev, and US President Donald Trump signed an agreement in Washington to open the Zangezur transport corridor. The route links mainland Azerbaijan to its exclave of Nakhichevan through a narrow strip on land in southern Armenia along the border with Iran. Under the agreement, the US will manage the corridor under Armenian sovereignty via a 99-year land lease, subletting it to a consortium for construction and operations. While Tehran said it welcomes peace agreements between Yerevan and Baku, it quote-unquote vehemently opposes placing the corridor under US control. Iranian officials argue that it will cut Iran off from Armenia and destabilize the South Caucasus by allowing a foreign military and commercial presence. Ali Akbar Velayati, senior advisor some problem with the sticks now. Ali Akbar Velayati, advisor to Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, called the project a geopolitical scheme by the US and Israel to weaken the Islamic Republic, sever its connection with the Caucasus, and impose a land blockade on both Iran and Russia. He claimed it was part of a wider NATO-backed strategy supported by pan-Turkic movements to shift the Western focus from Ukraine to the Caucasus. Quote, "The Caucasus is one of the most sensitive geographical points in the world, and this corridor will be a transit route in Trump's possession, but a graveyard for his mercenaries," end quote. Velayati said, adding that Russia is also, quote-unquote, strategically against the project. Moscow has said it welcomes efforts to achieve stability and prosperity in the South Caucasus and to normalize relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova stressed that the best solutions are those developed by the countries in the region and their immediate neighbors, specifically Russia, Iran, and Turkey. She noted that trilateral agreements signed by Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia after 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war remain in force and relevant, and that Armenia's border with Iran continues to be guarded by Russian border forces under a 1992 treaty. Strange, not so great news. Netanyahu's Gaza land grab. And the last one, I guess. This is a funny article, funny news. August 10, 2025, Russia and former Soviet Union. Zelensky not invited to Putin-Trump summit. WAPO, I don't know what's WAPO. US officials say the politicians' participation in the Alaska meeting remains possible, but is not a priority. Oh, this guy Zelensky, so unpleasant, you know. Don't call him. He's unpleasant. He will say a lot of stupid commentaries. Vladimir Zelensky on a photograph. Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky has not been invited to attend next week's summit between Russian President Vladimir Putin and his US counterpart Donald Trump in the US. The Washington Post has reported citing an official brief on the negotiations. On Friday, Trump announced that he will meet Putin on August 15 in Alaska. In the hours after the announcement, several outlets reported that Zelensky might take part in some form, with a senior White House official telling CBS News the planning was still fluid, quote unquote, still fluid, and that Zelensky could be involved. However, the Washington Post has reported that no invitation has been extended to Zelensky so far. Reuters has also said, citing sources, that the White House is still considering inviting him, but is currently focused on organizing a bilateral meeting at Russia's request. Putin has said he will not rule out a meeting with Zelensky, but the Kremlin has stressed that the conditions for such talks have not been met. Trump has suggested that upcoming negotiations could involve, quote, some swapping of territories to the betterment of both. To the betterment. Oh, I got it was to get better, but I never saw this word, betterment. To the betterment, to the improving of both. However, on Sunday, Zelensky rejected any land swap proposals. See? Do you see why you should not call Zelensky? However, on Saturday, Zelensky rejected any land swap proposals, citing limitations imposed by Ukraine's constitution. The Washington Post has noted that given the strained relationship between Trump and Zelensky after their tense Oval Office meeting earlier this year, Zelensky's refusal to consider territorial concessions could risk potential blowback from Trump, who has previously described him as difficult to negotiate with. Russian officials have repeatedly said that any peace deal must address the root causes of the conflict and reflect the realities on the ground, including the status of Crimea as well as the Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions. Ukraine absolutely lost. And what we have there? Oh, a marathon, a paid marathon. I couldn't run. I definitely cannot run, but it's interesting. Maybe it's not paid. Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson regions in exchange to Kursk region. I guess Russia already regained the Kursk region. I'm not sure about it. We joined Russia after referendums in 2022. So they made referendums. Russia Today saying they made referendums. Zelensky will say referendums were rigged, were all rigged. I'm just trying to find Kursk region. News about the Kursk region. Kiev, Kursk miscalculation. Ukrainian forces maintain presence in Russia's Kursk region. So, Kursk region is still Ukrainian. Russia says it has fully retaken Kursk, but Ukraine says fighting continues. This is April 26th. From Al Jazeera, I believe Russia